we talked about?
The cause and the
effect. The cause and the effect. So let's review a little bit. Cause and effect. If something's going to happen, there has to be what? A cause. Always. Nothing just happens just to be happening. Everything has a cause. Which one is right? The cause is right. The effect is right. Which one is always right? The effect is always correct. The effect is always the appropriate for the cause. Now the cause could be wrong, which means it was done unduly. It wasn't right to do that, to cause such a thing. Like an example, to poison the water in Flint, Michigan. That was wrong, right? That caused, but the effect that happened, not that it was right to the people, but it was the correct consequences for the choice of that cause. Does that make sense? So we want to be careful about our bodies. What did we learn yesterday? Who is the originator of disease? Satan. Satan is the originator of disease. That's really good for us to understand. So when we get something, we want to say, what in the world that happened? A good example of this is in the book of Job. You remember? Who made Job sick? Satan. Who killed his children? Who destroyed his properties and took away all his money? It was Satan who did it, according to the Bible in the book of Job. Why did God allow it? Because this was a test of God's character, and it was a test of who in the world did Job really serve. So that's one reason why we can get sick as God. The originator of sin is Satan. You're looking puzzled. You didn't know it was the enemy of souls that made Job sick, that gave him the boils, and left his poor wife to say, curse God and do what? And die. What was Job's response? Even though he lost his children, what was his response? Right. He said, even though you slay me, I will trust God. He understood something we'll talk about later, gain and loss. He said, I came into the world how?
with nothing.
And I'm going to leave how? With nothing. He understood that. He understood that nothing belongs to him. When we understand that, that'll give us so much freedom. When we lose things, we won't lose it because they never belong to us anyway. Okay? And so we read this quote that Satan is the originator of sin. And physicians and medical missionaries and those who want to help people get well are really in a war against the enemy of souls, because he doesn't want any of us well and happy and contented. And so this is it. So then God tells us where most sickness comes from. Remember this quote we read? Sickness of the mind prevails everywhere. 9/10 of disease from which men suffer have their foundation where? In the mind. Where our thoughts have a ruling power in our bodies. Also yesterday, we read this quote from that book that's in your room. Ministry of Healing, page 241, paragraph 1, one of my favorite quotes, that there is a relation that exists between the mind and the body, and that relation is very intimate. We talked about yesterday, right? If my hands were two humans, is this intimate? No. What about this? Now here? Getting there, right? This is intimate, but this is very intimate. Is that correct? And so the mind and the body are like this, very intimate. When something happens to the other is affected. Let's say, for example, I have Priscilla slap my hands right over my knuckles. Are both hands affected? Both hands are affected by that one slap. Both the left and the right hand. So is the body. That is how intimate your thoughts and your body respond. Now, yesterday we talked about some instances in which you can know. Remember I told you when I was an x-ray tech student and they sent me to surgery to do an x-ray, what do I have to do? Go to the bathroom, diarrhea, right? Remember I told you? They say, OR, Angela, go to OR, diarrhea, change into your scrubs and go do the x-ray. That's the order in which things will happen, okay? Just my mind hearing that, the fear, my body responded that way, okay? Bad effect. What about when you're not used to public speaking and you're thinking, I've got to speak or I've got to sing? What starts happening with your body? Sweat, your stomach. My mouth gets really dry. So what's happening? My body is responding to the thoughts of fear. I've got to stand up in front of everybody. So the connection between your body and mind are very, very intimate. That's what I'm trying to say. Many of the diseases which men suffer are from these things: mental depression, grief, anxiety, discontent, remorse, guilt, distrust, all tend to do what? Break down the life forces. Now, what brings life then? If that breaks down, courage, hope, faith, sympathy, love, promote health, right? And prolong life. So, have you seen someone, they smoke, they don't eat right, they do the, and they live to be like 95, you know. Drink, they do everything because they don't have the, and they're just as happy-go-lucky. I have an aunt like that. She's happy-go-lucky. You know, she was the last one to die at 95, you know, and she's so happy. Nothing really gets her down.
But what makes it happen?
Okay, their mindset is different than the one that's gloomy. Everything is bad. They're easy to be offended. They're always sad. They're critical. They criticize themselves. They criticize everybody. All of that that mindset affects the body. The body's sympathizing with that type of situation. Okay,
Well, you
look.
wonder how they have that mindset. You know, that must be a gift from God.
Yeah, it must be a gift from God or a different build of faith. You know, something they have. You know, Mrs. Reichert, the lady who rings the bell every day and says, time for worship, time for the walk. Her mom's a 106.
Wow.
And she says, you know what everybody contributes my mom's long life to? Not her feet, not her eating, not her exercising. She says, my mother always let things roll off her back from since I was a child. And she didn't have wonderful situations. She's had experiences that are trying, but she had that talent to let it roll off. And she says, I think that has the most to do with it. And then this quote supports it, and this Bible verse supports that thought. A contented mind, a cheerful spirit is health to the body and strength to the soul. A merry heart doeth good like a what? Like a medicine. And a broken spirit does what? Dry up the bones.
They didn't sing it this year.
Yeah, we didn't sing it?
No.
Oh, we have to do that. So I lined up what I tell you: grief, anxiety, discontent, and guilt and distrust are the laws of death. Where courage, hope, faith, sympathy, and love are the laws of life. And every day we what? We choose. We choose what kind of thoughts we want to have. All righty. I told you about Daniel Amen, right? He's in his book. His book is Change Your Life. Change your life how? By the way you think. In his book, he says, your body reacts to what? Every negative thought. Isn't that something? Every negative thought. Then this is where we stopped yesterday. Can someone read the first line here? Nice and loud.
Disease is sometimes produced and is often greatly aggravated by the imagination.
Okay. So did you know your imagination can produce an effect? We talked about Brother Bumgardner when he was in academy and how he would suggest that the students were sick and they always go back to their room and say, tell the dean I won't make it to class today. Okay. Just by the enhancing of the imagination. I really think about this one. Many are lifelong invalids who might be well if they only thought so. Can you imagine that? Many imagine that every slight exposure will cause disease and the evil effect is produced because it is expected. And then lastly, many die from what? And the cause is wholly imaginary. You ever seen that on a death certificate? Death by imagination. Have you ever seen that? No, right? Hypochondriac, very good. This is a book called My Life Today, and I want you to just think about this. I'm going to read it slow, okay? You're going to think about this quote. Every organ of the body was made to be servant of the mind. Every organ. That means your liver, your kidneys, every organ of the body was made to be servant of the mind. The brain is the capital of the body, the seat of all the nervous forces and mental action. So every organ is servant to the mind. That means it does what the mind tells it. Now, is the mind the same as the brain? That's my question to you. Is the mind the same as the brain? No. Here we got a psychologist right here. She said no, the mind is not the same as the brain. The brain is an organ. The mind is something spiritual. that controls every organ, including the brain. And every organ of the body is servant to the mind. Okay? How does your mind function? What does it get? Information and thoughts, and it responds to that. Mahatma Gandhi said, a man is but the product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he will what? Become.
Amen.
What he thinks, he becomes. So what do we need to work on? Do we need to work on our bodies? Eat right, exercise, drink right? Yes, right, important. But what's the most important?
The brain power.
Our mind, our thoughts. Our thought power is the most important. This is a book. J. Allen is the author. As a Man Thinketh. This is what he says. Very interesting. In many cases, diseases and health are rooted in thought. Sickly thought will express itself in a what? Sickly body. All right. Let's look at this. This is a book called None of These Diseases. Macmillan wrote this book, and he says emotional turmoil can be linked to 60 to 100% of sickness. Very close to what we read before in Ministry of Healing, 90%. He's saying 60 to 100%. Emotional turmoil is linked with disease. Isn't that something? Now, in his book, he says as he studied, he saw that fear brings all kinds of sickness, and sorrow can be linked with high blood pressure, and envy with a toxic goiter and other endocrine system problems. Hatred, arthritis, bitterness, heart troubles, resentment, migraines, and gastrointestinal problems, stress. Okay? Now I told you that. Well, we got out here right in front of our door. Isn't that something? But let's think about this. Gastrointestinal problems. I just told you that. When they told me I had to go to the OR and that stress to have to do that as a student, soon my gastric intestinal just said, oh. And so stress can have a lot to do with that.
Your mind was the cause and the effect
Was diarrhea. The body's effect to that
Isn't that the
mind.
Cause? The mind is the cause of what you heard. That
The thoughts, how it affected my mind, and my mind sent a signal, let her have diarrhea.
But the cause is because you had to.
The thoughts, the thoughts and the fearful thoughts.
We know the root, in a way, is we have an innate fight or flight. That's very, basic.
Right.
Basic, and then where it gets.
And it keeps going. This is a medical study that shows how stress increases your diabetes. And it talks about it. When you're under stress, you may forget to take your blood sugars like you used to. When you're under stress, you may eat more, which is going to affect your diabetes. When you're under stress, you're not going to want to eat a carrot and celery. I'll just tell you. You're going to want to eat chips, something salty and fatty. Okay? Yes, those comfort foods. And so this stress causes us to exercise less, eat more, eat unhealthy, and then our blood sugars get all out of whack. But what is the real root of it? Is the thoughts and the can't handling my stress is causing behaviors that's going to give me good fruit or bad fruit, as we talked about. The fruit are the symptoms. Okay, bad fruit. Okay. This is a book that I've gotten, and I really like it. It's called The Type C Connection. And Dr. Timashok wrote a book. Her best friend was a hematologist. He owned his own oncology clinic. And he told her, Lydia, look, I'm seeing a personality for my cancer patients. They all have the same personality. I want you to do a study. She was a research scientist. So he invited her to come and spend some days just in his visitor's waiting area and talk to the guests, his patients. And she did. And she was like, you are right. They all have a personality. I want to do a study. She did a 12-month study on the behavior of just his patients. And she wrote this book, The Type C Personality. What kind of personality do you think a cancer patient has? They're mean people, nice people. What do you think?
Both.
I think they're bothered.
They're sensitive. What'd you say?
They're bothered.
They're bothered. They're the most pleasant people on the most part. They're the most helpful, the most self-denying people. You even think self-denying should make it better. But they have what we call passive regression. You know, things happen to them and they'll go, oh, I'll do it. But inside they're like, why you don't never pick up your socks, you know, to their husband. But they'll pick them up, put them in the place. But inside, So this is what she wrote. In 1974, type A behavior. Just as type A behavior gives your heart a sensation, right? Type A people have more heart attacks. That's true because they're stressed out. Now, this vital book documents the connection between specific behavior patterns and cancer and shows readers how to transform their lives. This is a very good book. Look at it. They're unfailing, the type C personality, unfailingly pleasant. They are so helpful. They rarely get angry. They are assertive. And this contributes in their developing of cancer because they repress their real feelings.
Passive aggressive.
Yeah, they repress. So, in this book, it showed the type C personality. We're going to go over them. They have a little despair, but they don't share it with everybody. They always look like they got it together. Their selflessness, their repression, their negative relationships, their lack of control, feeling undeserving, or secondary gain can be causes of cancer. All of these have to do with what? Thoughts. Let's look at them. Despair following a significant loss. Look at this. The loss usually 6 to 18 months prior to a cancer diagnosis. If you had a great loss, you lost your favorite job. You lost your favorite relative. Your house burnt down and you didn't know how to deal with it. 6 to 18 months could lead to a cancer diagnosis. Wow. Selflessness, limited awareness of one's self and one's wishes and one's needs. You don't understand what you need, but you know what you're getting is not what you need, and you don't know how to express it. A continuous catering to everyone, their needs and expectations, and not taking care of yourself. The inability ever to care for yourself, even feeling guilty that you're taking care of yourself, can lead to a cancer diagnosis. A repression, holding in your anger and rage and hostility and resentment, can lead to a cancer diagnosis.
Well, that's not only cancer, right?
No, not only.
This is disease.
Diseases in general. This is just from her book.
Yeah.
And then secondary gain. I thought this was very interesting. Someone who wants to be sick so they can gain sympathy.
Ooh.
You know, when I'm sick, I get all the cards from the church and people come and visit me. When I'm well, don't nobody come and help me. My children come and visit me who hadn't seen me in years. I'm just going to think I'm just going to stay sick.
Wow.
So I can get secondary gain, which is attention. What do you think about this? So I like this. This is what's written when? 1870 by Sir James Paget. You ever heard of Paget disease? Okay. He is the doctor who came up with that name of Paget disease.
What is it?
I'm trying to think. I think really what it is, but it's a disease, and I can't remember what it is. Somebody look it up, Paget disease, and we can. It's named after him. But look what he says. He's a doctor, Sir James Paget, and he says, the cases are so frequent in which deep anxiety, deferred hope, disappointment are quickly followed by the growth and the increase of cancer that we can hardly doubt that mental depression is a weighty addition to other influences favoring what? The cancerous constitution. He wrote that in when? 1870. Isn't that interesting? There was a physician, I can't remember his name right now, but he had an African-American lady with a cancer diagnosis in New York. She had tried a lot of things to overcome her disease. And when he talked to her, he didn't ask her anything but, have you ever had any deferred hopes, things you always wanted to do and you didn't do? And she says, I always wanted to play the piano. He looked at her husband. He said, go buy her a piano, put it in the house right away, and get her someone that can instruct her in piano lessons. The husband did it. What do you think happened to her? She turned around. She got better. Can you imagine? Just fulfilling one deferred hope increased changed her mindset, and her whole body responded. Now look at this Bible verse. Don't you think it's interesting? Proverbs 4:23,
Oh, yeah.
that we should guard your heart with all diligence. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the what? Issues of life. What is your heart? What is it talking about? This thing that beats? No, your mind. Guard your mind with all diligence, for out of it is the issues of life. Very, very interesting. Look at these other Bible verses. A merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, but a sorrowful heart is broken. We already talked about a merry heart is good like a medicine. But then this last one, OFC. I should write my references so I can remember. But gratitude, rejoicing, benevolence, trusting God's love and care. These are the health's greatest safeguards. Now, what didn't it say as greatest safeguards? Eating right, drinking water. They are great safeguards. But what are the greatest safeguards? Having a rejoicing mind, having a heart full of gratitude, having a mind full of benevolence, and learning how to trust in the living God like Job. Even if you slay me, yet will I serve you. These are the greatest safeguards for our health. So remember I told you about our 2 salad bars? We're going to go back to those. Which one are you eating in? The salad bar of God's love. It's a salad bar, and I told you it was free, right? The Bible says in Isaiah 55, yo, everyone that's thirsty, come into the water. Come ye buy and eat without what? Money or without price. So it's a free salad bar. It's always open because God says, come unto me, all you are laboring and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. He always says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So his salad bar is 24/7. It's free because he's already paid the price. Free to you, but he paid the price. And this is his salad bar. When we eat from the salad bar of love and selflessness, we will trust. He will fulfill all our spiritual needs. We need acceptance. We need liberty. We need justice and security and grace and mercy and happiness, understanding and approval. Every one of us needs this. And these needs will enhance our health because we will be sending right messages our mind will send right messages to every organ, which are servants to the mind, and we will have good health. But if we eat from the counterfeiter's salad bar, the salad bar of, does the food look real fresh?
Stale.
Look stale. This is the salad bar of selfishness. We will always be murmuring and complaining, full of worry, unappreciative, bitter. We become merciless, unforgiving, doubtful of hatred, insecure. What kind of body are we going to have eating at this salad bar? Okay. Huh? So if our mind is all of our organs are the servant of the mind, and we're eating and we're feeding our mind with this kind of thing, then what kind of health are we going to have?
Toxic.
Very toxic. So I love this quote. Your mind is a garden. How about that?
No.
Your thoughts are the seeds, but you can choose. You can grow flowers or you can grow weeds.
That's
Is that in your
beautiful.
book?
Yes,
That's
it's in there. Mhm.
Okay.
And so this is what I was talking about. This is a 2-day lecture we talked about yesterday and today. Why is it so important? Yes, everything that we're doing is important, but this is the most important. What kind of field is your mind? Because your mind and body are so intimate. If you have the wrong kind of field, you're going to get the wrong response. So God wants us to fill our mind with flowers and not with weeds. How about that? How about that? Tomorrow, please bring your notebooks because we're going to start making our plan of what you're going to do when you go home. Okay? But I just want to do a little bit of this one, and it's entitled Gain and Loss. Gain and loss. What did I tell you when God wants us to be what? Investors or distributors? Do you remember? Distributors. We're the Postal Service. We're the FedEx, the UPS people, right? And where's our warehouse? Our warehouse is God's love, right? We go to God's warehouse of love. We get all the love we need, and then we do what? Distribute it to others. You know about warehouses and distributing, don't you, Lynn? And Pastor Steve, right?
We just got into intimately.
Intimately, right? Yes. But you know, when people think about the word gain and loss, It depends on the person. Like, for me, if I could say I lost weight, I would be so happy. But I work with a co-worker. Her name is Debbie. If she says she lost weight, she's so sad. I look at her and say, girl, be quiet. Oh, Miss Pulley, I lost weight. I'm like, are you trying to joke on me or what? Okay. So when she gains weight, she's happy. And when I gain weight, I'm not so happy. You see, it's all about perspective and experience and what life and what shoes we're walking in, isn't it? Of where we can perceive what is gain or loss. Every human being, though, knows the difference between a gain and a loss. Okay. What is a gain? Let's look at the definition. This is from the Merriam Dictionary. This definition of gain: to obtain or secure something that you desire, something that you feel is profitable. That's the gain. An increase of wealth or resources is a gain. What's a loss? A state or a feeling of grief when deprived of something. Do you know I'm still grieving from my 5th grade?
Not when you were
I was in the 5th grade.
Was trying to get you to smoke.
No. I was 12 then.
Okay.
This is 5th grade. And we go on a field trip to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, UNC Chapel Hill, at the planetarium. And we go to the planetarium. We're on these fancy buses, our whole school goes. And my mom gives me money to go buy something from the gift shop. I think she gives me like $5. Now this is in the 1970s, and, $5 was some real money.
$5 was $5.
Yeah, and she gave me $5, and I bought 2 things from the gift shop. I bought a little hourglass little thing and a little magnet with the planetarium to put on the refrigerator. Got back on that fancy bus, and we drove 45 minutes back home, and I got off the bus and left my bag.
Oh, you went along.
You're still grieving.
I'm still grieving for my hourglass and my magnet. To me, that was a great loss. I was deprived of something that I valued, and I lost it because I was forgetful and got off the bus. Okay, and I left my bag, and I still haven't forgotten it. Okay, we're going to play a game now. You ready?
Yeah.
Red door, blue door. Everybody must participate. Okay, so behind the blue door is a brand new car with a lifetime warranty. Okay, behind the red door is a new car, lifetime warranty, and lifetime tires.
Oh, yeah.
If you want behind the blue door, you have to pay $500. If you want behind the red door, you have to pay $550. Now, how many are you going to vote blue door? Blue door. So most of us will go behind the red door. I knew Miss Jerry going to go behind the red door. Blue door. You get a year's worth of diapers. Lynn is looking at me like, what? They can be any kind of diapers. Adult diapers, doggy diapers, children's diapers, any kind of diaper. You get a year's worth. And over here, you get a year's worth of gasoline. But wait a minute. Don't vote yet. You don't know the price. You don't have to pay anything for the year's worth of diapers. If you choose the blue door, you have to pay $100 for the year's worth of gasoline.
Red door.
Red door. How many red door people?
Everybody.
Oh,
Who wants the
nobody's.
diapers?
Blue door.
You want the diapers, Dave?
Yep.
You want the diapers. Dave wants the diapers. So we got 1 for the diapers.
Blue door for me too.
Y'all want diapers. What y'all gonna do with them?
Give it away.
And then we got like 4 for the red door. Wow. Okay.
Can I tell you why?
Yeah, I'm interested. I want to know why. Now, here, surprise behind the blue door. And then over here is 100 boxes of Fruit Loops, $3.
Yep.
Who's going behind the red door? You want 100 boxes of Fruit Loops? Or you want the surprise? You don't have to pay anything.
Surprise.
How many are you going for the surprise?
Surprise.
Okay, everybody. Anybody going behind want 100 bucks? Nobody wants the Fruit Loop. Okay, the health message is really sinking in your heads. How many seconds did you think it took us to decide which we wanted, which door? Not long.
Nanosecond.
Not long. This is the human heart. God made us like this. Okay? He made us for gain. I would just want to let you know you were made to be a winner. I mean, just to come out of your mother's womb, you are a winner. You know, just that the sperm and the zygote, I'm forgotten, my egg, I'll just say my egg and the sperm to make a human being, and you survived. You're already a winner. We were made to be winners. Isn't that right? And so this is the human heart. These are how we make every decision. What will I gain? How can I avoid loss? If there's 2 losses, I'm going to choose the lesser loss. Okay. If it's 2 gains, I'm going to choose the greater gain. Okay. This is how we are. Yes.
That's why they call us 1 in a million.
1 in a million. That's right.
Because all the million sperm, only one got in the egg.
That's right. Only one fertilized. That's right.
Sometimes it's not your choice. Because I think I wanted to stay inside there, but they had to cut me.
You had to come out. Well, yeah, you got to go out. That's right. You didn't want to come out. You need to come out, man. So the human heart is so interesting. We make all of our choices by this. Our minds are always wanting to understand this. How can I gain? How can I avoid loss? We always want to know, how can I want to succeed. I don't want to fail. This is how we think. We don't like being losers because we were made to be winners. Okay? But something happened. In the Garden of Eden, God made us winners. I want to just talk to you about some of the things God gave us that I can guarantee you, just from the book of Genesis 20 through 26, all the way to chapter 2 to 25. Number 1, what did Adam and Eve gain? First of all, they had life, and it was made in the image of God. Now, is that winning? That's winning. Number 2, being in the image of God, perfect environment. Number 2 thing God gave man, because he was winners, was this: dominion over the entire earth. Genesis chapter 1, 26 and 28. Number 3, relationships. He gave Adam and Eve relationships. Before Eve, Adam had relationships with the animals, God, the angels. And then he gave him I always say a premarital lessons. He had him name animals and talk to them and realize there's nobody here like me. And then he put him to sleep. And out of Adam, who's the originator of all man, Eve was not created. She was created with the substances that came from Adam. Is that right? And he made her a beautiful. I call her the showstopper of the world. She was so beautiful. And they were given a perfect environment. Now, wouldn't you like to live like this? I'm made in the image of God. I have dominion on all the earth. I have perfect relationships, and I live in a perfect environment. Perfect nurturing. And perfect approval, because when God made everything, he said it is very good. So they had everything they needed. Number 7, they had a perfect and a simple law to follow. Very simple. It was not complex. Of all these trees you can eat, of the one don't eat. That's it. Only test they had. So easy. And they did not have a fallen nature. They had a perfect nature. So let's look at this. How could Adam and Eve avoid loss? They could have avoided loss by believing God and not Satan. They could have avoided loss.
That's heartbreaking.
Does the devil know that man lives by gain? He does. If Satan had came, say, hey, Adam and Eve, if you eat of this fruit, then you're going to be considered that you disobeyed God. And both of you are going to die. But until you die, there's going to be pain and death and this and that. Would you eat of the fruit? No. Come on and have it. Would they said that? No, because we're still made for gain. So he had to make it seem like this is so good. It's so good that God doesn't want you to do it. But if you try it, you're going to get another experience that you've never had.
That's true.
Okay?
They
get it. That's right. That's true. But it's mixed with a lie. And so this is what happened. Why did Adam and Eve eat? Because they thought it was gain.
Deception.
They would have never eaten if they thought it was loss. Human beings never do anything that they think is a loss. We always choose gain. The thing that's wrong with us is the human heart. We don't know how to choose real gain without God. We would choose false gain, and we'll think that something that's a loss is a gain. I'll tell you how. One day I was teaching Sabbath school, and I was trying to teach my young people about gain and loss and how Satan is deceptive. So I taught the lesson, and at the end, I brought this pie.
Now that's a vegan pie.
It was vegan.
Okay.
Was it really?
Yes, it was. It was vegan.
Awesome.
But it wasn't really a pie. I had a graham cracker crust, and I filled the inside with compost. Gooey, stinky compost.
Oh my goodness.
And then I topped it with whipped cream. So it wasn't vegan because I just bought that whipped cream like this. And I put sprinkles and a coconut flakes, and I made it look so pretty. I bought some pretty little plates, and I had it on a beautiful tray, even with a vase with flowers. I made it look so pretty, and I put it there on the table. And all the kids are what? Excited! And I said, okay, I taught the lesson. It's in the class. I said, it's time for our pie. And they're all sitting there. And I take a scoop, and I scoop it, and I sling it, chew, on the plate. And you should have said, their eyes went, what is this? I put that down, I got another one. Chew. Are you all ready to eat? No. No, they said. So what was seemed gain right there, this we're going to have this delicious meringue pie, became loss. Nobody wanted it. Okay? That's the human heart. We don't like loss. The Bible supports this. In Matthew 6:19-21, it says, we consider gain and loss. Where your treasure is, that's where your heart is. Where your heart is where your treasure is. So here's our test, another test for you all. Scenario number 1. Look at this car. How many will be bothered if this is your neighbor's car? He comes out getting ready to go to work, and he noticed he got sideswiped through the night. And both of you are outside in your parking lot at the same time. You're getting ready to go to your car, Lynn, to go to work, and he's going to his car. You're going to feel what?
Oh, I feel bad.
Feel bad? Of course you'll feel bad for him. Say, Henry, I'm so sorry your car got hit, man. Did you see? I didn't see nothing, man. I told him I sleep with earplugs. I didn't even hear nothing, but I'm sorry. I got to go. Henry, I'm going to be late, but I hope you can figure this out. But do you need a ride? No. And I get in my car. How long you think I thought about it?
For the moment.
For the moment, on the way.
You reach the stop sign.
Maybe I think about it when I come back home and his car's still dent. But is it going to really impact my life? No. Scenario number 2. There's a murder. Girls killed in her apartment. We'll read it in the newspaper. We even talk about it at lunch. Maybe at work I said, did you know what's going on? People killing ladies in their apartment. But how long am I going to think about it? Longer. Yeah, even longer than I did the car. I might think about 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even 6 months. But in what day was that? In November, my daughter and I went out to eat, and there was a picture of George Floyd on the wall. And I said, I remember that guy. And I had to think, oh, that's Floyd. I had to think about it, But what if the murder was my son?
Yeah.
It makes a difference. Or what if this was my car? I feel different. Why? Because it's mine. Isn't that true?
Yes.
I'm different because it's what is mine. Last scenario. I have a Thanksgiving party, and we're going to exchange Christmas gifts because this is the last time we'll see each other for the year. So everybody exchanged names, and my name was my cousin Melissa, and I wrap it up in some this kind of paper, look like regular postage board, and I put all candy canes because she loves candy canes. And I find out she loves scented candles, and I get her favorite candle, favorite scent, and I put all that graffiti, that pretty paper inside, and I make a really good package. So when she opens it, she's going to be so happy. We exchange gifts, and everybody gets their gift and they open it. Melissa won't open her gift. And I'm just sitting there waiting. She won't open the gift. And then in a minute she gets up and she throws it into the fireplace.
What?
How do you think I'm supposed to feel?
Did this really happen?
No, I'm making it up. Scenario.
Say,
How would I feel?
Hurt.
Hurt.
Devastated.
Yeah. a little embarrassed too, because it's in front of everybody and she takes my gift and throws it in the thing. Shocked. Why? Because it's mine. It's my money. It was my time. It was my gift. It was my idea. It was all of this. It's mine. 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 This is when it's mine, and when I lose it, it really hurts. Now, if she had threw somebody else's gift in there, what I would have had? I would have thought she was weird, but it wouldn't have hurt so much. Isn't that right? Because it wasn't mine. But the truth of the matter, even though I'd spent the time and all that, it wasn't my time. It wasn't my money. It wasn't. Everything belongs to God. If you have a phone and with a Bible on it, can you look it up, these Bible verses really quick? This is how we're going to end today with this fact. I need somebody to look up Exodus 20:11.
2011.
Exodus 20:11. Someone.
For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them. But on the seventh day he rested.
So who made everything? The Lord. Oh, I didn't make anything.
Nope.
This is getting problematic here. All right, Psalms 24:1. What's mine? Tell me.
The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein.
Nothing wrong. We don't.
So the earth is the Lord and everything that dwell.
Yep.
Oh my. All right, Jerry, I know you can help me. Tell me what's mine. It's mine, Jerry. What?
Behold, all souls are mine.
Oh, Lord.
All the souls of the Father, so also the soul of the Son is mine. The soul that sinneth, it shall
Die. So the souls of the earth is his. All the world is his. The earth is his.
Every
I know you're going to help me. Money is mine. Something's mine. What's mine? Haggai 2:8.
The silver is mine, the gold is mine, saith the Lord of hosts.
So what's mine?
grace.
What's mine? Nothing's mine.
Well, he's mine.
Yes, he's mine. Yes. But nothing on the earth is mine. Your children are not yours. Your house is not yours. Your time is not yours. Nothing's yours. Everything belongs to the Lord. And when it belongs, can he do what he wants to with it? Including you? So that's why God wants us to trust him.
I could think of one thing.
What's
That's
mine?
ours.
What is that?
It was
Choice.
What?
The power to
Choice.
He gave us.
Oh, he gave us that gift, the power of choice. I love that. And it's a gift. So tomorrow we'll finish talking about the human heart and how we should have no other gods before God and how we do and how it affects our thoughts, our feelings, and even our health. But I'll tell you, the biggest freedom we can have is that nothing's mine. It all belongs to God. Nothing.
Is that in our,
It's in your notes under gain and loss. So we'll finish gain and loss tomorrow, and then bring your notebooks because we're going to work on making our plan to go home.